Welcome in to Training Ground Dispatch here on the SDH Network, presented by Kaiser Permanente. I'm Madison Cruz. He is Jason Longshore, and we are here at the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Training Ground as we get you ready for another double match week as Atlanta United heads on the road to face the New York Red Bulls. Jason, I think it's been a hectic last couple of days with the win against Cincinnati. Then you had the crazy comeback win against Orlando on Wednesday. Have you had the chance to catch your breath yet? Have you slept a little bit, or are you still a little bit hyped up on the adrenaline?
Yeah, it's been crazy because you got wins in like two completely different, chaotic ways. You had the lead against Cincinnati most of the way, but you had to fight things off. You had all kinds of friction. It was a wild game, even though you led for the majority of it. Then Orlando was the opposite. You gave up a goal very, very early, came back into it, had a mistake, then had to fight back very, very late to flip it from a loss to a win. So you've had all the stress, you've had all the craziness. We found out on the pregame show on Wednesday, we didn't know about the rule that MLS has that you can only have to do a week like this one time in a season. It's not just the midweek game, it's the fact that Atlanta played Sunday night and then had to turn with 2 days in between to Wednesday and then 2 more days in between to Saturday. So sometimes you'll see the Saturday, Wednesday, Sunday, or the Sunday, Thursday occasionally, or Sunday, Wednesday, Sunday. We've seen Miami in that schedule a good bit. When you play the 3 games in, technically 6 days?
Yeah.
You can only do that one time in a season. Atlanta's in that, and they've won the first 2. Now they go to a place where they've never won, and it's a challenge. But I totally agree with something Ronny said about the mentality. And there's a big difference in the way that we talk about things here versus if you're going to be a big club. If you're going to play a big club, you're going to play a lot of games. Vancouver's dealing with this right now. You're going to play a lot of games because you're advancing in competitions, and you're going to play a lot of midweek games. It's just normal. Yeah. It's not always pleasant. It's not always ideal, but it's normal, and players can handle it. I think to an interview that I watched recently with Thierry Henry with the crew from Sky Sports with Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher and Roy Keane and that whole group, Ian Wright. They're all talking about Henry playing in a match where he was not 100% and banged up when he was at Barcelona. And he said the way that Barcelona played, it allowed him to feel comfortable to play at less than 100% physically because they were keeping the ball. They were being very intelligent. It's something that you have to do when you're tired. I thought against Orlando, Atlanta United showed a much more increased soccer IQ in those situations. They managed the game well. Orlando gave them the ball. They said, cool. When they needed to be more urgent, they were. When they needed to be patient and keep the ball, they were. That's going to be critical this weekend against Red Bulls because you're not going to be 100%. You're not going to be fully fresh. Sometimes you got to go and put your foot on the gas. Sometimes you got to cruise. And we're going to see where this looks.
Especially going up against a New York Red Bulls team. We know how any Red Bulls team plays, very aggressive style and how they do things. So that's already going to be a challenge. Also, not to mention that Atlanta United has never won against Red Bulls in that building either. But hey, I mean, it's a good challenge, especially on the run that you have been on, especially playing multiple games at once. We've talked about it in the last double match week with a lot of players and with Ronny. A lot of them preferred a match a day like this. They like having a week where they play multiple games back to back because it keeps them fresh, it keeps the momentum going, and you don't feel like you have this weird break where it stops that momentum. And right now, I think that's really important for Atlanta United heading into Saturday's match.
You got to break down barriers, and whether we're talking physical barriers of being tired but still needing to perform at a high level, whether we're talking about psychological barriers of going into a building where you've never won, you have to break that down if you want to climb to another level. And we can talk about Atlanta United being one of the biggest clubs in this country, and they are in a lot of different ways, but the results over the past few years haven't had them there consistently. So how do you do it? You do things that you haven't done. You have a week like this one where you've got 6 points in the bag already. You start to go and be more dangerous on the road, and you start to go and win in places where you haven't before. And that's going to be down to this combination that you have right now of this group from player 1 to 25 that needs to contribute in their own way. One of those players who has been contributing in a big way is Jamal Thiaré. He spoke to the media today, and you're also going to hear in this segment from our friend Ronny Deila.
How different is it for you coming off the bench and preparing as opposed to being a starter, and how do you keep yourself focused during a match for when your time comes to perform?
Yeah, I have a strong mentality. Just when I on the bank and I see the game, sometimes I see if I was maybe who I start this game, I can help my team. But doesn't matter. Just if I play 5 minutes or 95 minutes, it's the same for me. Just coming on the field and help my team and to do my job. Yes.
When you start to score goals consistently, how much does it help your mentality, your confidence?
I score or I don't score. I have a good mentality. I think the team too. And just if I score, they're happy for me, and yeah, me too. I'm happy by myself. But just to play our soccer, I know the game is just a game, you know. If you play, sometimes you have a bad moment, sometimes good moment, but just try to stay positive. What happened? But we are here and we continue to do our job. And I say we are on the good way. Just continue to keep going.
Yeah, there's always a thin line with these things, especially now when we have done things a little bit different than we had done in the beginning of the season. Then it's about consistency up against freshness, and that's a difficult thing all the time. The positive is that we have a strong squad. You know, that's one of our strengths, that we can have players out and somebody's coming in and do the same quality work. So we'll see what we do now. I'm still haven't decided 100% what we're going to do because of the short turnaround from Wednesday, but we will be strong, and we need everybody now in these games.
And how much of that decision as to who starts, are you going to use from the data that y'all accumulate during the training sessions and after the games, and how much of it is just going to be, I need this guy because he's playing well?
Sometimes it's data. I don't use data so much in that. Of course, it's you see what kind of numbers they have run and where they are. But for me, that's good though, that we have come to that. My eyes is more important than the computer. Okay. That's I see when people are tired or not, and we cannot be like, oh no, he's run 3,000 meter sprint, so then he cannot play. Then we are going wrong. Okay. You can back up statistic and data to some of what you're seeing, but if you don't see it, don't go to look for problems. That's important, and we also be very bad to go into I'm tired. You should be tired after 3. Like in the big clubs in Europe, you don't think about that. You go, and of course you maybe not 100% every time, but you do the job. And now you need to restitute. You need to make all the decisions right, so you are as good as possible into every game. And in Europe, if you lose the place to somebody else and he plays well, suddenly you don't come in again.
Right.
So that's the mentality we need to have as well. Everybody should be wanting to play, and you have to take your opportunities. And if not, somebody else is doing it, and then you may be in a different situation than you were before. So I think I don't see that. I see that everybody wants to play, and right now you want to give everybody a chance, but as you say, it's about freshness, but also about consistency. So we have to find the balance between that.
You mentioned decision making, especially when the team's a little tired. It feels like that's really improved with the group over these past couple of games. Is that something, or maybe the better question is, how do you try to improve the decision making within the group?
I think we focus a lot on do things simple. And also when you get the ball, you know exactly where your teammates are. Then it makes everything also more easy. So again, consistency in patterns and the consistency in messages, and focus on tasks. Also make the simple things right, then the other things will come naturally. So I think also better leadership now. I think they start to understand that, and then also they talk more and they take more responsibility. So hopefully this is just a start to more growth.
Atlanta United is going on the road to face the New York Red Bulls at Red Bull Arena tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. We're going to have the pregame show for you on 92.9 The Game and the Odyssey app starting at 6:30 p.m. with myself and Abe Gordon. Then we're going to toss it over to the voices of Atlanta United in Mike Conti and Jason Longshore, who are going to be over at Red Bull Arena calling the match.